Got some legends. Well, hey, hello. Jeffrey Shaw from Radio FM 88 in the studios in Brisbane, Australia. As you know, and you can see just above me is our guest tonight, and it's actually good morning then. And of course, my co-host, well, today she's got a halo above her head there. That's Andrina. It's a good morning to you.
Morning, Jeffrey. Morning, Giles. And good morning, everybody who's listening to Dreaming the New Dream or catching up the replay or whatever time of day, wherever you are in the world. Welcome and thank you for tuning in. Today, it's the 27th of June. I'm coming from the heart of Glastonbury today. And we're about 5 miles from the Pilton Pop Festival. So we're nowhere near, but near enough. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Today, it's our great pleasure to have the lovely Giles Bryant on the show. So welcome, Giles. It's so lovely to have you on.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm so looking forward to getting into dreaming the new dream.
Well, you're already doing it, aren't you?
Well, I am dreaming the new dream. And I suppose that's why I'm here. I love as well the logo. I love the banner of the dolphins and the whales, so I thought I'd wear my my shirt today. But yeah, I'm broadcasting from sunny Suffolk, just up the St Michael ley line from Glastonbury, and it's a beautiful day here. I've got love in my heart, I've got songs in my mind, and I'm looking forward to a good chat with yourself and Jeffrey.
Wonderful. Well, you've got so much to share because, you're a founder of the World Healing Project. I know you're a yoga teacher, you're a musician or producer and singer. And I know you've toured all around the world and you're gathering people together in different places. You're offering different support, different network. And I know you've got your beautiful wife, Juliet, and she does a lot of wonderful things. So I know together you're quite... I'm trying to dodge a sun here. Quite a dynamic duo. So let's start right from the very beginning, where you were born and how you've come to where you are now and all the steps that have taken you along the way. So did you come from a musical background?
My granddad played the piano. My dad's from Derby, so kind of in the just getting on for the north of England. And I remember when I was young, we used to listen to music in the car, and we had a tape, Cliff Richard, and we had a tape of the Beatles, and that was probably what I grew up with, listening to Joni Mitchell and Mozart, Beethoven. That was my kind of earliest musical memories. I was born in Chelmsford in Essex, in the heart of Essex, 1975. And I went to... when I was 5, we moved out of Chelmsford. We moved to a little village. I went to school. I was quite bright, really. My mum was a school teacher, and that was back in the day when you could afford just one of the members of the family could work and the other one didn't have to. So my mum stopped being a school teacher. My older sister and myself got the benefit, particularly of her expertise teaching us when we were younger. So I've got one of my key memories really is when I was 11, and we do this exam called the 11 plus, and if you pass the 11 plus, you get a grammar school and all that. And I really was quite bright, and I'm doing the 11 plus, and my mum had tutored me on it, and I'm doing it really well, and I finished it all, and I sat there thinking, yeah, definitely passed. And then 2 minutes to go, and I got the papers, and 2 of the pages had been stuck together. Now, I say stuck together by spirit because I opened them in horror, and I thought, and I just had to guess all these answers. If I would have passed the 11 plus, I would have ended up going to the grammar school and probably having a very different life, to be honest. But I was educated in a normal school, comprehensive, with a wide range of people, which was a wonderful experience. And then I ended up at law school. I was training to be a barrister. I was at university in Bristol. And I thought, well, that I was good at it, and I thought that would be a good thing to do. And I'm a child of the 70s going into the 80s, where Thatcher just said we had to earn money, and I didn't really know much different than that was the idea. Just earn money, get a big Mercedes, get a big house. That's life. But then I had this song come into my head, which was one of the Beatles songs. Money can't buy your love, can't buy your love. You know, and I thought, well, on one hand, I'm being told earn loads of money. And on the other hand, I've got these memories within me. Maybe there's more. So I go to law school. After 1 year, I realized how corrupt the legal system was. I thought, I don't really want any part of that. So at that age, and this is now 30 years ago, I started to study yoga, philosophy, meditation, psychology. And that really put me on a path away from the law, thankfully, and into what I'm doing now.
Wow. Well, what can I say to that then?
Well, I would have been earning a lot of money right now, you know, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably have so much love in my soul bank, so to speak.
Yeah. You wouldn't have had soul satisfaction, eh?
I wouldn't have had such soul satisfaction, but I would have been a very good barrister, I think. I would have been quite good at it, but probably ended up very miserable.
Yeah.
But as things turned out, so when I graduated, when I completed my law degree, a friend of mine said, he goes, there's people that are living in a forest. There's a group of people living in a forest. He goes, come and see them. So I did. And I remember turning up, and it was a beautiful summer's day. And it was like Robin Hood and his merry men, you know, when they're all happy and they're in the forest. And it's so 2 months later, I was living there. So I went from this, this legal training to living in a forest, caring for the woodland, and really getting into the practice of yoga and meditation. And it's I think the ideal environment for it is in the woods, in the forest, which is where the yogis have gone for thousands of years. And that's where I'd studied yoga for a few years, but I really started to get to learn more just from being. That was it, you know, rather than books and teachers and people. It was just that direct experience of nature. Like the Buddha, you know, the Buddha sat under a tree and received enlightenment. So my message out there to the good people listening on Radio FM 88 Australia, you might be watching on YouTube or Facebook, just be with nature, go get out into nature.
There's nothing more powerful, is there, eh? Sit against a tree or even hug a tree for us tree huggers.
Yeah. We do absolutely love it.
Yeah. So did you have music in your soul from an early age? You know, did you play guitar or anything like that? You know, where was the starting of your musical abilities?
I remember when I was quite young, and we went to church. It was Christmas, and my nana, that's my dad's mum, my nana was there, and we all had these candles, and I was singing, and I must have been singing very passionately, you know, kind of feeling a positive message of whatever the song was. And I remember she said, "Oh, beautiful! It's so lovely to hear you singing. You're singing with all your spirit." And I think this is a very important thing for us, for children, and for adults. Really, is to reinforce positivity, because so many people have their voices shut down because they're told, "Oh, you can't sing," or "You sound terrible," or "What are you doing?" or "You can't do this." And when I went to the woodland, it was fantastic because we'd sit around the fire. Obviously, there was no TV. I mean, this was pre-internet, really. There was no Netflix to watch. You know, there was no internet radio to listen to. So our entertainment was to sit around the fire and we would sing, and people would play guitar and people would drum. And there was an environment of no criticism. It was just an environment of encouragement. So that's really, I suppose, where this because we've all got music in our souls, you know. We are vibration. The world is vibration. The world is sound. So we just got to tune into those refined frequencies of love and harmony and peace and joy and abundance. Sing these songs, radiate out these songs, dream these songs into existence. So that was really where I was encouraged to experiment. And there were a few people there who played the guitar, showed me a few chords. And one of my friends said, if you can play one chord and then you can play another chord, then you can make a song. I thought, that's all right. I mean, the Beatles, you know, the Beatles in the early days, it was only 3 chords. So I went from there and released my first album in 2001, which was called, what was it called? It was called Sacred Chants and Spiritual Songs. Oh, look at the website. Fast forward. Thank you for that, Jeffrey. Here's the website, and it's gone all the way up to the Perpetual Choir's Unity that we released. We released this year on May Day, and you were there on
I
the
was
tour.
there.
You were there because we sang from Glastonbury tour up the St Michael line, and I sang for 15 hours continuously to
Yeah, because you
celebrate the
travelled
unity.
on around the country, didn't you? From Glastonbury, you were going.
Yeah, we sung up the ley line, what we call the ley line, or some people call the song line.
Song lines, yeah.
The song lines, or the sound lines, or the dragon lines. So yeah, that's really the journey. I've now produced many albums of my own music and other people's music. I have a recording studio here in Suffolk, and the Unity album is accumulation of teaming up with hundreds of people from all over the world.
I think that's when because I can remember meeting you down the town hall. Oh, I don't know what year it was, and I can remember talking to you, and I bought one of your CDs then. It wasn't the Unity one, because obviously it wasn't. You hadn't made it then, and I can remember saying to you about coming on the show. Now this has got to be a year, 18 months ago. I can't recall now, and I don't know whether you said get me on email or what have you, and I can remember sending something off and not hearing back. So and I didn't follow it through. I can't remember. And then of course, and then when I saw, then you put something out in the Goddess House you were looking for people to sing with the Perpetual Choir, and I thought, oh, I'll go to that. And I thought there was going to be lots and lots of people there. I think there was about 9 of us turned up. Yeah. And that's when, again, I thought, oh, God, it's Giles. I'll get you to come on the show. And I have to say, you gifted Carol and I your Unity album on the May Day on top of the tour. So thank you for that. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no, thank you. It is wonderful. We were just finishing the song, the album, and one of the songs is the 108 ohms. And the ohm mantra is some call it, oh, there we go, 108 ohms. And our mission was to get 108 people to sing on it from all over the world, to share their voices, to share their vibration. So we put out this initiative, do you want to be part of it? And we were invited to a wedding near Glastonbury, and we recorded, I think there was about 80 people there that we recorded all doing the ohm around the microphone, as well as people from all over the world. One of the yoga sound healing schools in the Himalayas, they sent music for us, and people all over the world sent music. But I thought I really want to record in Glastonbury, and the ohm is this vibration of the earth, and so I thought, well, we need to record with the goddesses, record at the Goddess House. And of course, you put these things out there, and you never know who's going to turn up. But I truly believe we don't need to have. I mean, on the sound, the 108, the people singing together is wonderful. But we only need a few of us. We only need a few people to affect
healing song,
fundamental change.
Unity album.
Oh, here we go.
Healing, do you chant? Food.
So that was the idea. We were getting people to sing along.
And there's nothing more powerful than the voice. I mean, I do a lot of voice and sound work, and I work with the speaking voice, looking at like each note is related to a star sign, and it's important that you're strong in your birth note or your soul tone, whatever. So I look at the notes that are coming through the speaking voice and the ones that aren't, or that are low, that need you need toning up to be your full potential, if you like. So anything to do with sound, I like to go to the kirtan. I haven't found any chant groups yet in Glastonbury. I used to do a lot of chanting in Australia, and I'd like to be doing more of that. So but anyway, I'm just putting it out there. So, but also I'm looking for my home in and around Glastonbury or on the outskirts. So I think once I get that set up, then maybe I can start something myself. So, but yeah, bringing people together, just, you know, like a simple sound, you know, because like you say, there's such a fear at school. And I can remember the teachers, and I'm going back a bit. I'm a little bit more elderly than you, or of an elder. And I can remember the teacher saying she wanted people for the choir, and we all had to sing a note, or we had to sing something, and it was no, 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 yes, no. And it was like, well, that was it. You were tossed to one side and you didn't get a chance. And like you say, you were told to be seen and not heard. There's still a lot of stigma about people singing and finding their voice and expressing themselves.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I now do at workshops and one-to-one sessions is voice empowerment, because I've realized that people have these blocks. And in my study for the last 30 years all around the world, I've learned practices, you know, to develop the voice. I mean, I was going to be a barrister, so that my voice was going to be my my way of making money, and I suppose it still is to a degree now. But there's tools and techniques that we can do. I mean, one of them, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you might see this. If you're listening on the radio, I'll try and describe it. But if you move your jaw around, I call it the funny face. Make a bit of, if you can relax your jaw, it's one of the ways to help the song flow through you. Deep breathing is one. Good posture is one. Good diet is one. There are many things that you can do. Simple vocal warm-up exercises, humming. There's so much that we can do to help people. So what I would do now, if I was and I do go into schools to do work with the children, encourage them, show them some techniques. And also, one of the things about singing is the ability to pitch to that right frequency. And if you have a sound, like I like to sing with the guitar or the harmonium, if you have a sound of a resonant frequency, it's so much easier to pitch to it. So we were singing for our solstice, singing in the yurt recently, and a friend's there. And he is one of these people who was told that he can't sing, and he's got this, I can't sing. And Juliet and I were in the yurt, and we were all singing, and it was magnificent. And I said, look, if you can feel the resonant frequency of what we're sounding, it's so much easier for you yourself. Oh, there's a picture of it for those of you that can see. That's the yurt there. And we are nearly there with 195 countries' flags painted on loving hearts, that as I look at you now, they're spinning in the wind and radiating out love. It's one of our missions at World Healing Project to help bring people together in unity and in harmony for well-being and peace. And that's one of the main projects that sound is such an effective way to do it. If I say tomato and you say tomato,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there are literally people having wars because someone says Rama and someone says Allah and someone says Jehovah. You know, someone says Hare Krishna and someone says Hallelujah. Sounds pretty similar to me. And that's where, when we can remove the words and we can just make sounds, like this, the sound of the heart, the R sound. Ah, and we find that sound in so many sacred words. Amen, Amen, Auren, Aum, Buddha, Shiva, Krishna, Wankantanga. It's kind of there a lot because it's the sound of the heart.
Yeah, this will make you laugh. I was doing a workshop in Australia years back now, and I was getting everybody to do the tones. And I said an "ah" for the heart, and then I could all hear them. They were all going "r." So I had to sort of spell it out. So and I thought, God, you don't realise your accent and the different sounds.
Oh my golly, absolutely, yeah, 100% there, yeah. The AH, that's how you would spell it.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible thing. And one thing I just say to everyone, a simple principle is intention plus sound brings the healing. So if we hold that intention of love and peace and harmony, and then we make the sound, it carries it. Sound is a carrier wave of our consciousness. And we all know this because we can say the same words, but with a very different intonation. For example, if I said, I love you, or if I say, oh, I love you, or if I love you, yeah, it's the same words, which is why we sometimes have misunderstandings in text messages or emails.
Yeah.
Because we cannot get this sense of the consciousness coming through the words.
And I'd rather people, you know, when they say, oh, I've sent you a message, I said, don't just ring me. You know, it's just so much easier to say and talk than it is, you know, sending messages. And you know, you can read the messages wrong as well. You know, I can send something to, say, my daughter, and she's read it completely different to how it was coming from me.
No, absolutely. And I think that's one of the wonderful things of radio. You know, radio still is alive and well, and the podcast, and obviously we're now broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook as well for the people on those platforms. But it is the voice. The voice is so powerful, and how people, you know, how people use the voice. I mean, you know, I don't like to talk about him, but Tony Blair. I mean,
God.
you know, how he spoke. He said, and the important thing is to, I mean, of course, he was a lawyer, wasn't he? And he was taught in this neuro-linguistic programming, literally had to program people so they'd follow the nonsense he was saying. But anyway, enough of Tony Blair. But
yeah.
The sound is important, the sound. And that's where, if we can connect within through spiritual practices, whatever they may be, it might be walking or gardening or yoga or meditation or whatever it is, you know, connect to that source within us, to that love within us, and then express it through song. Because when we speak, we can argue, but when we sing, much less likely. You know, the singing is the singing frequency. And that's why I say, you know, obviously Radio FM Australia, and I had some wonderful time in Australia. They don't call them dragon lines as the Chinese do. They don't call them energy lines as we do. They don't call them sound like, they call them song lines. And this energy travels, this vibration travels. And the old folk in Australia, who've been there maybe 60,000 years, what is the methodology of the continuation of their culture? It is because they would sing their intentions into the Earth Mother through the didgeridoo, which is a perpetual Om machine. You can create this sacred vibration with the circular breathing. They would sing into the song lines, and they would Spirit would give them the food, the water, the shelter, everything that they needed. The proof of the pudding is in the continuance of the culture. And these methods have been used all over the world. I mean, I've traveled all over the world, not to every of the 195 countries, but a few of them. And every single culture uses sound. And one aspect of it is what we call the perpetual choirs. It's this in groups with people creating perpetual choirs of sacred sound and harmony. And in Europe, you see the magnificence of these structures that have been created, these cathedrals, or even stone circles like Stonehenge, which is a resonant sound chamber. This is one here at Bartlow Mounds, where we recorded the music video for one of the new songs. Oh,
Where did you say it was?
It's a place called Bartlow. And
is that somewhere near you? Is it?
It's these massive ancient mounds. They're probably 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And the main song line, the main energy line, goes right through the middle there. It plays right through. Jeffrey, I'd just like to say, well done. Your technical expertise is incredible. I've never done a show with such mastery of visuals coming in and out. So, top work, mate. Yeah, that's what we want to bring back. We want to bring back the perpetual choirs. You see, in the ancient times, Plato said man was not governed by law, but by music. Okay? Let's let that sink in. In the old days, man was governed not by law. We didn't have all these rules and regulations, and you can't do this. We were governed by music. We were kept a chant, a perpetual chant, maintained a harmony over the planet. I mean, what an amazing thing. And Plato also said that the modes of popular music determine the government, which is one of the reasons I'm so, you know, I put so much of my resources into producing music, producing this amazing music, like you can see here, the Unity album and the work we've done with the Perpetual Choirs and other projects. I spent 8 years making an album called One World. I traveled around the world for 6 years. It cost me £250,000 to make this album because I believe so much in the power of sound and expressing this, encouraging people to sing again. Because imagine if we were singing these songs of peace and harmony and love, then maybe we'd get a decent government. We'd get decent world government.
Do you reckon?
However, we would.
Eventually.
We would. But unfortunately, I mean, I work with lots of musicians. Some of them have sold multiple million copies of their music. Some of them have had number ones. You know, I work with people who are unknown, tribal people, all sorts of people. You know, I collaborate with. And some of the people who've been very successful in the music industry, they say it is the most controlled industry in the whole world. And the reason for this is that sound could liberate people. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So it is divine. You know, the world is sound. We are made up of vibration. So if we can resonate sacred sound, we can bring about such profound healing, abundance, prosperity, well-being. And I believe Plato's words, which is why we have music now. You know, mainstream music is most of the music pushed upon people is, I mean, it's just dreadful. But we want to dream a new dream, and that's what we're doing with the Perpetual Choirs. We want to put these harmonic codes of light and love and peace and harmony in music and get people all around the world singing. So we did a song called the World Peace Song, and we got people from the Ukraine to sing, and we got people from Russia to sing.
I think Jeff's playing something in the background, aren't you, Jeff?
Which one's is it called? Sing for Peace? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's one of the projects. It's one of the projects, Jeffrey. Yeah, Sing for Peace. We just want to get people to sing for peace. I mean, how much money are they spending? I mean, just the war in Ukraine. How much money is being sent to destroy people's lives? How much money are they spending to destroy people's lives? We are peace. Om Shanti Om. I mean, what a beautiful message.
Mm.
And the girl singing this here, the girl singing the lead vocals is called Gaia Sanskrit. And she is world renowned. If you check out her YouTube channel, she's got like 500,000 subscribers.
What's going on here then?
Hey,
What's going on here then?
what? What about this one? Where is it?
Of course, the thing is, scamdemic, there's no getting away from it, gagged everybody, or a lot of people, and which stopped people from speaking. And it's taken a long while for people to sort of get back to speaking again because they, you know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one of the early things, you know, I mean, obviously we can't get too deep into this because we're on Facebook and YouTube, but you know, when they stopped people singing in the UK, they said you're not allowed to sing, and I just thought, no, yeah. You know, singing is one of the best things for our immune system. It's one of the best things for our mental and our physical health and our spiritual well-being and the planetary healing that we can bring about through it. We didn't stop. We sang every week with our friends. We didn't stop at all.
Yeah, totally.
And in actual fact, we sung on the winter solstice. We sung all the way. We started at sunset and we sung all the way to sunrise.
Lovely.
Which was a wonderful time. And, you know...
Hey, but hang on. I'm just going to be really facetious and say that you guys have got 80 modern churches / cathedrals and it's called the English Premier League Championship, first, second, third division, where they all come and they all sing, don't they?
No, you're absolutely right, mate. No, 100%. In actual fact, one of the main ley lines goes through the Wolverhampton Wanderers ground, and dowsers have done experiments there where they'll douse the ley line going through it, and it's maybe, you know, like 30 paces or something. And then when all the fans are singing, it massively amplifies the ley line. So you're right, they are cathedrals, they are temples to some people, and they elevate it. The difference is that the songs stop. When the songs stop, after a while the ley line then comes back.
We're getting an echo, aren't we, of your voice, Giles?
Oh yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
while he's doing
I
that,
think when some of the tabs are open. Sorry, Jeffrey, over to you.
that Wolverhampton Wanderers, across the road from that is a spiritual SNU church. Sits right on that spot, what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. People have had the knowledge of this for many years. So I studied with a guy called Colin Bloy.
Can you hear the echo, Jeff?
No.
Maybe it's just coming through to us. So yeah, in 1981 in Brighton, in England, in the south coast of England, there was a lot of trouble with the mods and the rockers. They would smash each other up. And a group of healers got together and they said, can we do something about it? We understand that people suffer from disease and can be healed, but what about communities? Can we heal communities? So in Brighton, the focal point of Brighton is the old fountain there, the old stone circle that they built Queen Victoria's fountain on, the old stone fountain. So these healers got together and they all sent light and love to the fountain. And that was all they did. They had dowsers, expert dowsers, who were able to measure the expansion of the ley line. And the energy went all the way up the motorway, and it went all the way up the train tracks. They didn't ask it to do this. It just, they sent the love and the light, and it happened. Well, the mods and the rockers came down on the trains and they came down on the roads, and they got to Brighton. They did a few loops of the roundabout and they went home. The newspaper declared, bikers go home, Brighton too boring. And what it had done is they were getting their adrenaline fix, root chakra, and it had lifted them out of it. So what did they do? They went to Margate, they went to Hastings, and they went all over, started smashing these places up. The people in Brighton said, which now became called the Fountain Group, this is what we've done. Choose a focal point in your local community and send love to it and light to it. And where these experiments had begun with music, because Colin Bloy, the founder of Fountain, his son went to a private school, and they had a chapel where they would do Gregorian chanting. And he doused the ley lines, and when they did the Gregorian chanting, it massively expanded the ley line. So he thought it's the music that's affecting the ley lines, but it turns out it's not necessarily the music. It's the effect the music has on the consciousness of the people. This is really the key. So that's why, Jeffrey, you're saying when people are singing these football songs, you know. So I have a vision, actually, of Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people, right? And they're all singing, I invite the golden light into the earth through me. And all these people singing with love and unity. I mean, I've never been there, but at the Liverpool football stadium, they say that when the fans sing, you'll never walk alone. You know, it's incredibly, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and it's the passion of it. But we need to bring people together. Football, like politics, is adversarial. So you'll get one of the fans chanting one thing. Excuse me. Another one. Oh, it can be hard to follow when the echo covers the speech.
Yeah, stop now.
Excuse me, my cough's not. So what I would say is,
because I dropped off the website, which has got all the music on it.
Yeah, I thought it must have been something like that.
Yeah, I think when that was on, it was echoing, but here we go.
Right, Carol, my sister. So she's done a chant for peace, and I know she's going to contact you. It's in her queue of things to do. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Stamp your feet for peace. Verily, 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 it's time to make horses.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good one, and we need to create the new songs as well.
Yeah,
you know, not just sing the old songs, but sing the new songs, and put them in an expression of positivity. I'll give you an example for this. When there was the Iraq War, yes, thank you, Arwen. Yes, I think it was those the web's open. When there was the Iraq War, there were 2 million people in London. 2 million people, and it had been the peace movement had been overtaken by an organisation called Stop the War. And if you look into who these people are, they're actually the same people who set up the Extinction Rebellion. Anyway, what they did was they got people chanting, "Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war." Well, the subconscious mind doesn't really understand the stop or the, it just hears war.
Yeah.
Which is why Extinction Rebellion in my opinion, is a dreadful name. We want to be focusing on what we want. We want to be dreaming the new dream.
Exactly.
So the thing to chant for is not stop the war. We want to be chanting for peace, which is why in our World Peace Song we say, "We are peace, Om Shanti Om," and then we sing the words of peace. And one of the big differences through what I call the nut job, the COVID times, was that when there were the marches and when we were 1 million strong in London, what were people singing? What were people chanting? They were singing freedom, freedom. They were singing this. They were singing the song freedom. They were singing out freedom. And that's what happened. That's what resulted from it, singing into the hearts and minds and the song lines of the planet into the Earth Star of London. So I think that's a very important thing in our songs, that we should try to dream the new dream and focus on what we want to manifest in our lives, not focus on what we don't want. Because when 2 million people were chanting "Stop the war," it didn't stop the war.
And it's the power of your words. People don't realize how powerful words are.
Words are so powerful.
You see this bloke, he's an Indonesian. We had him on the radio station 4.5 years ago, and I have to find the show. He organised 2 million Jakartese to come into the centre of town, and they all prayed for a transition from Suharto to the democracy. And of course, people around the world picked up on it. I think he mentioned it was 26 million people were doing a revolving prayer. And so when Suharto moved out, there was no acrimony, and there was no disturbance, and there was no conflict. It was just an easy transition. Yeah.
Well, if we look at the fall of the Berlin Wall, I mean, when I was younger, I thought that was always going to be there. That was the kind of mindset. And then how did it fall? It was a peaceful celebration. And there were healers working on both sides of in Berlin there. And when it had been doused, the energy system was on West Berlin was on a 7-bar system. And on East Berlin, it was on a 1-bar system. And when the energy was in harmony with one another, then the wall came down. And actually, they had a concert. It was a peaceful celebration. So transition can be done like this, and I think sound, prayer, positive visualization and intention, and these things have been kept from us, and increasingly they are now being revealed and people are incorporating them. But that's, as I say, it's why modern music I mean, I my aspiration for my music is I'm just going to do my best with it. I'm going to create the most magnificent music that I can, and share it, and I'm going to sing, even if I'm just singing on my own or with a few friends, like you say, Andrina. When we sung in Glastonbury, we recorded there only 6 or 7 of us. It doesn't matter. It's the intention going into it. But what is the content of of popular music. You know, what are people actually singing about it? My boy, who's now 19, when he was 16, I said to him, what music are you listening to? And he played me a song, and he had these headphones, and I put them on, and it was rap music, and the production was fantastic, and the beats were amazing. It was really good. And then the lyrics started, and it was horrific. Yes, the Walls of Jericho, that's right. It was horrific. The lyrics were horrific. And I said to him, do you know what they're saying? And he said, oh, I don't listen to the words. But of course, those words are going in.
Going in, of course.
They're going in. It's like a television program. Let's just unpack that. Well, you're being programmed, first of all. Television. They are telling you a vision. They are giving you their vision of reality. And I think that a lot of people realize now that what comes out of the news, you know, I mean, when we were 1 million strong, right? When we were 1 million strong in London, marching for freedom, the BBC, Guardian, Reuters, and the New York Times reported that there were 365 anti-vaxxers in London. Now, I was there, and I'm quite good at counting. I mean, there was definitely close to 1 million people. They said there were 365 people, 365 anti-vaxxers there. I made a video about it, and I know this is going out on YouTube. YouTube banned my video.
No surprise.
They didn't want people to see. But the cat's out the bag, people. It's like, I mean, our family are multi-faith, right? So we take from traditions from around the world, but Jesus said, when the people were praising him, and you know, and they said, oh, Rabbi, stop them, and he said, look, if you stop them, the very rocks and the stones will proclaim this. Now, what are they proclaiming? They are proclaiming that there is love and peace and unity and healing everywhere. This is the truth. This is the good news. And we can really expand that through song and through sacred song, which is why, despite the little blip in COVID, in England, the growth in choirs over the last 10 or 15 years is astonishing. People are singing so much more. And it's one of the things they didn't like, Jeffrey, at the football, when they made the football stadium so you had to sit down. A lot of the people said, we can't sing when we're sitting down. We want to stand up, you know, stand up and belt it out, you know, once again, which is such a remarkable thing. But that's a big thing for me in Britain. There used to be something called the Perpetual Choirs. I'm just going to hold it up here just to save going to the old website. That's the map of it. So Glastonbury is here, Llantwit Major and Stonehenge. The oldest writings we have in Britain are the Welsh triads. They date from the 7th century. And they talk about these sites of the perpetual choirs where people maintained a perpetual chant, radiating out harmony. Now, harmony is a term of music, but also a term, of course, of well-being. They radiated out from these points. Thank you for putting that up there, Jeffrey. And from these 3 sites, the mystical author John Michel, who I spent a lot of time with at Sacred Sites, no longer with us, he discovered that there was a point in the middle called White-leafed Oak. And it's a very ancient site in the Malvern Hills. That's in the west of the country. And in the east of the country, a circle was discovered just a few years after John Michel had rediscovered the circle of perpetual choirs of the west. And the dot in the middle there is near Saffron Walden in Essex, where we lived when we recorded the album, the first Perpetual Choirs album. Now, you may notice that some of those points there are actually in the sea. But if you go back 6,000 years, that wasn't the sea at all. It was a landmass going into Europe. So it seems that the mechanism of the circle of perpetual choirs is thousands of years old, certainly predating the stones at Stonehenge, for example. So we're talking about a very ancient practice, but it's something that I found throughout my travels around the world. When I went to Egypt, the guide said to us, we were on the Nile, and he said, this was a temple of the perpetual choirs. just before we went on the show, I was talking to Jeffrey about our trip to Australia, and when we went to Carnarvon Gorge, which is one of the sacred sites of the old folk, and we met the guide there, who was an Indigenous guy, and we said, "Where should we go?" And he said, "Well, mate," he goes, "I reckon if you go to the amphitheatre, because that's where they say the rainbow serpent descended into the planet." So we thought, we've got to go there, right? We've got to go to the amphitheatre. So you climb up to it and you go through it and you enter this chasm and you go into this space. It's remarkable. And the sound of the wind blowing through the chamber makes a sound like the didgeridoo.
Wow.
It's the perpetual, I mean, the birds are singing the perpetual choirs. My friend heard the angels. He heard a symphony of the angels of the perpetual choirs. This is Carnarvon Gorge. It's a remarkable place. That's the amphitheatre. No, it's not one of the waterfalls. We recorded there for the One World album. And this is a lovely story. I was in India. We were in India recording. And I recorded in Varanasi at the International Music Ashram. And we started to do this song called Mother Om. And I travelled from a place called Gokarna, a sacred site in India, to Australia. We flew into Brisbane. And then we travelled to Byron Bay. And I wanted to record a didgeridoo player. So I thought, I've got to find a didgeridoo player. And I came across a guy called Sai Malumbi, who is one of the world's leading didgeridoo players. And I found him and I said, I'm doing this song. I met up with him. And I said, I've just come from Gokarna. And he said, 20 years ago, I went to Gokarna. I was a medical student, first year of my medical studies. I traveled to Gokarna. And I heard the Om vibration as a didgeridoo. So this guy just got a download.
Wow.
And in that moment, I could play the didgeridoo perfectly. And since then, all he's done, he gave up his medical studies. All he's done is play the didgeridoo. So we recorded with him. And he said the didgeridoo is a perpetual Om machine. So I'd come from Gokarna to him in Byron Bay. And he'd done the same journey 20 years before. And I'd heard this song. And he said, this is the sound of the mother. This vibration is the sound of the mother. And we put it all together. And then when we were in Carnarvon Gorge, you can see these beautiful photos that Jeffrey's shown us here.
Mm.
I took recording equipment and I went to the waterfalls. So on the song, you can hear the sound of this ancient perpetual choir of nature. But I think as humans, if we can replicate it,
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's it. That goes into the amphitheatre there. What that would have been like before they put those steps in, you would have had to climb. It would have been an initiation to climb up the rocks. A spring comes in.
Flip.
What a place. So I get so much inspiration for my music from visiting sacred sites. I wrote a book about 15 years ago called Sacred Sites and Sacred Songs. And it was my inspiration from traveling to these places. And then often at the place or afterwards, songs would come to me. You know, for example, where I was in India and we were by the river Ganges in the Himalayas. And we were singing, it was the winter solstice, and we'd built a peace circle and we were singing to the river. And the river sang back to us.
Really?
The river sang us a song. And it sung to us. It sung, Jai Ganga Mahadeva Om Namah Shivaya Shiva Namah. So this beautiful song came to us. So Craig Perez, who is the world's finest producer of spiritual music, his Sacred Chants series has sold multiple million copies of albums. So I played the song to Craig, and because we'd done a lot of work with Craig, he said, I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to produce this song for you. So on our first Perpetual Choirs album, Craig produced the song. It took him a year. He worked over a year. I mean, I wouldn't have had the money at the time to pay him, but I didn't need to because he gifted it to us. But Craig, as a yogi, understood that the songs can be revealed to us by sacred rivers, by sacred mountains. We traveled to South India, And in northern India, by the way, they've returned the perpetual choirs. They started singing again in 1936. We traveled to South India to a place called Hampi, which is an ancient place. And there's a big mountain there. It's like a pyramid where they've got a temple on top of it, very ancient temple, where 20 years ago they started singing the perpetual choirs again. And as we approached this mountain, we could hear it singing. So this mountain is not only an instrument, it's an amplifier, like a big orgone generator, like the Glastonbury Tour or Uluru or something. It's singing a song, and it was singing this song. Jai Shri Ram Hanuman, Jai Shri Ram Hanuman, Ram Ram Ram, Jai Shri Ram Hanuman. Juliet and I could hear it singing. Now, it might sound a little bit wacky, a bit woo-woo, but it did. Anyway, we go up to the top, and the monks are at the top, and they're singing the Ramayana, which is one of the biggest stories, biggest poems in the world. They continuously sing it. And essentially, that's what they're singing. So be inspired, friends that are listening to this. Go to the sacred places and sing. Don't be shy. Just let the song flow through you. That would really be my advice.
God. What was I saying? Carol and I used to run a funeral business years ago. And the difficulty we find with funerals and when people go to church is the hymns. People can't really sing. They're either too high, they're terrible. I mean, we used to encourage people to find a favorite song that everybody could sing to. Not that, a lot of people can sing at a funeral anyway. But it's like when we watched Charlie's crowning, it was like a bloody funeral. It was so somber, And I thought, why didn't they start something new, something vibrant, something alive instead of like the Death March? That's how
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. There you go.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and that's why a lot of the you hear with the football and the joy at the moment. There's the Euros, Euro 2024, right? And one of England's star players is Jude Bellingham, and all the fans, they sing "Hey Jude." Na, 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 hey Jude. And when McCartney plays that, when he played at Glastonbury a few years ago, and it's just people won't stop singing it. It lasts for 10 minutes because it's easy. Now, what are they actually singing? Let's unpack it. Nah, what is that sound? There's an N on the front, but it's isn't it? Nah, It's a heart-opening sound.
Yeah.
And the last funeral I went to was my dear friend Isaac George, fellow presenter at Kind of Sound Radio, and I spent a lot of time with him, in his last days and weeks and moments. And his funeral was so far out. It was not somber. It was not. I mean, there was a medium there who was the interfaith minister channeling Isaac, as I mean, it was wild. But at the end song, I can't remember what it was, but he had an open casket. So he was just like, he was there in his casket, and everyone was dancing around it. And it was something like, your love is reaching me higher, higher, higher and higher. It was something like that. And it was like a rave or something. I mean, and the funeral people, I mean, obviously they see lots of different things, but the people at the
would have turned in their graves, so to speak.
No, I think they liked it.
Did they?
But it was,
of course I would, yeah.
It was wild, and it should be a celebration. We should celebrate birth, and we should, because we are the soul. If there's one truth, I wrote this song, and the lyrics go, the way is clear and easy. Trust in who you are. Be here now, and be the best of who you are, because we are soul one with God. I mean, that is the truth of it. The way is clear and easy when we let go of our fears and trust in who we are, because every moment is a present, and be here now. The truth is always there, and share the very best of who you are. That's all we've got to do. Just do the best you can. Share the best of who you are, because we can heal the world. And I certainly believe that. You know, my dad, he's a lovely guy. And he worked for Reuters. He used to work for the news agency. And in all the COVID times, I said, you know, Dad, Reuters are saying there are 350 anti-vaxxers. Look, there was 1 million people. Oh, was it? Anyway, bless him, my old dad. Love and healing to him. But, you know, it's that celebration, I think, is so important. A celebration, and what a way to celebrate. So I run the World Healing Project, which I've done for nearly 19 years now. It seems there's a world to heal, and there's methodology that we can do through global meditation, through yoga, through good nutrition, building peace circles, through healing music. That's what we're doing. My dad said to me, you know, I mean, it's just too ambitious, you know, trying to heal the world. Well, why not? We'll give it a go. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to promote.
You're not trying. You are.
We are, and how we do it is one person at a time.
Exactly.
And it starts with me, like ABC, like 1, 2, 3. The healing of the world is starting with each of us. Dreaming the new dream is starting with each of us, and we have so much power. We have so much power and so much potential, and it's that this is really the biggest secret, is that's kept from us. Oh, you're a cosmic accident. You're born and you're going to die. You know, pay your taxes. Shut up. Wear a mask. Whatever it might be. No. You're a child of God. You're one with the universe. Let's go to the word song. When reversed is gnosis. Yes, knowledge. Absolutely.
I thought you're channeling your dad. I thought I was listening to buddy old Stepfather and son.
Oh my God, he might be.
Arrow.
Yeah, you know, he might be listening in. He might be tuned in now. So God bless you, Dad. You know, I love me, Dad. You know, I made this album called Buddha of the Back Garden, right, in 2018. It was so jolly. And it's one of those things that if anyone says to you, listeners out there, if anyone says, oh, you can't sing, or oh, you're just, ignore them. Express yourself with love and joy. If you do want any ways to improve your voice, of course, contact me for a voice empowerment session. Little plug there. You can do one-to-one sessions wherever you are in the world. Anyway, I make this jolly album, right? It's so jolly. And my dad says, you know, oh, it's mournful. You know, this music is mournful. He said it was mournful. It would be a good music for a funeral, but not mine. You know, I mean, I almost wanted to put that review on my website. You know, kind of like mournful or something. Good music for a funeral, -- but not mine. I mean, it's the most jolly album, but there we go. So I just try and ignore people. And just get on and do it.
Leave them to it.
Leave them to it. Do my best. But he did come for the launch concert that we did, one of the launch concerts, and he enjoyed it. My old dad enjoyed it. You know, that was very good.
But Andrea and I know a guy in Australia here called Chris James.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's traveled the world. And I remember doing a few of his classes there. And you're standing there with a group of Neville nobodies. And he gets you to get into a posture where you're riding a horse. And then he gets you to go. And he just takes it away. And then he just says, right, well, play this note. And it's just go for it. And what I found was instead of classically trained where you hit the notes and you go up the scale and stuff and back, he opens your whole body, just like we're talking about being on the football stands and standing out, opens it up. And so your voice, the elastic of the voice, takes it right out here to, you can probably go to 4 octaves, really. You'd be old Rimbrov, from Russia. And then the voice then comes back and sits in this new groove. So instead of being just a 4 semitone sheer singer, and you go from 1 octave to 2 octaves, 3 octaves, you feel really comfortable. I mean, that guy was, he's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. No, absolutely there, Jeff. Yeah, through vocal techniques, you can incredibly improve your voice. They have these shows where they'll get like celebrities and they, they're rubbish, and then they just have a voice coach for 6 weeks, and then at the end of the 6 weeks you see how love that. Oh, Sonny, love this, man. I love you too. Great ideas. Yeah, heal the world through song. I mean, we can. That's the thing. In the beginning was the word. I mean, it's just it seems solid. This seems solid. It's not. It's just vibrating energy. It's just the electron resistance. The world is sound. We need to rediscover this once again and resonate sacred sound through the sacred sites, through these song lines. We've got the technology. It's our voice. Really, God's given us a voice. Let's use it. Let's dream the new dream.
And it's like when you're doing your toning, like, it's like inner toning. You're toning your frequency, your vibration. And again, like you can do all sorts of sounds and cover your ears and you can really hear the deepness of the resonance of your voice, can't you?
Yeah, everyone can really improve their voice. And I think singing together as well is a beautiful thing. Or if you go to a cave, or you go to a church or cathedral or something, there was a lovely story when my friend Christian Kiriaka, he went to Chartres Cathedral, which is, the Knights Templar built it in like 28 years. I mean, it's just an unbelievable feat of engineering. One of the best acoustics in the world. And they'd toured around, they couldn't resist it though. And you go to these places and and then the building comes alive. I sung in Canterbury Cathedral and it did that. It just the reverb and you feel the change, the vibration. And then there was an announcement on the the speaker. Will the people chanting please stop? This is a house of God. You go to Canterbury Cathedral, they have even song, of course, but it's a tourist attraction. These places should be temples of perpetual choirs. They should be alive with sound. We should have funding from the government. We spend in the UK 100 billion on the NHS per year. Is that all? Well, I think COVID janked up a bit, but imagine we just put a bit of resources into singing groups, in developing people singing, and these sacred temples that have been built. Let's resonate sacred sound through them all of the time. I have a vision in the doctor's surgeries of the future, the medical centers of the future. We'll still have all the allopathic stuff. It's useful, but we will also have a room at all of these places, and it will be resonating the R sound. So you'll be able to sit there comfortably. You'll be able to join in if you want, or you'll just be able to absorb these healing frequencies within your body. And I hope to see that happening soon, because the power of sound, the sound healing is incredibly profound, and there's many different modalities of it. My favorite is the voice, because you take it everywhere with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just got to loosen it up. And if that's getting on the horse, like you were saying there, or whatever. And the thing is, Jeffrey, when you said that, it was the laughter. Do you know, laughter, it relaxes you. It relaxes everything and it allows things. Whereas a lot of people, when they're singing or speaking, they get tense. And that tension blocks the flow. So it's that relaxation. That's why I like yoga. I've been teaching yoga a lot of years. Or whatever movement you can do, or silly things like Chris James was doing. That you're going to ride the horse. And then after that, it's kind of, what can you do? Yeah, all of a sudden, I mean, my vocal range, I can sing low, I can sing high. And my vocal range is incredible, but it didn't used to be. It's just because I've practiced. I can sing, like Ray Charles. I mean, I can sing harmonies, I can do the bass, the tenor, the soprano, the alto. Sometimes, if my pants are tight, I can. Can I say that on air?
Yeah, of course. Well, Juliet kicks you in the gonads. Yeah, be right.
Oh, Juliet does, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Juliet, I just plugging her. She'd be a good guest for Dreaming the New Dream.
Yeah, no, I did say to her.
We are a dynamic duo, and
you are. And can I just, because you're both vegan, aren't you? You've been vegans for donkey's years.
I've been vegan for about 28 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're an amazing, you're an amazing musician, singer, and you're traveling all around the planet. You're here, there, and everywhere, and you're doing all sorts of things. And a shining example of being a vegan.
The thing about veganism as well is, veganism has got a bad press, particularly in the recent years, because a lot of them are just nut jobs. I mean, and climate change and all this. I mean, but and a lot of them are very unhealthy because they're nutritionally deficient. But for me, the journey into veganism was through the cows. It was because I could sense the suffering of the cows, and I just didn't want any part of that. I didn't want any part of cruelty to animals. It just seems wrong. And then the other massive thing for me was, we all remember it. Feed the world, let them know it's Christmas. The whole Band-Aid, feed the world. Well, that was in 84. Now, I believe they were tuning into a higher consciousness. They wanted to feed the world. How do we feed the world? Well, if we're all eating steak, we need a lot of land to grow the crops that feed the cow, that we kill the cow, we eat the steak. There's not enough land. There's not enough farmland. We just can't do it. Whereas in India, where I've spent a lot of time, 1.6 billion people, a lot of poverty, but not a lot of starvation. Why? Because most of them are just eating, dal and rice. It's very easy to grow, and it's a very sensible use of land use. But I would say the kindness is an important thing. Be kind to yourself. If you need to eat meat, great. You need to have dairy, eggs, whatever, that's fine. But be kind to yourself. Tune into actually what you need and make sure you're getting enough nutrients. If you're a vegan, if you're a meat eater, if you're a vegetarian, it's so important. What's the most important nutrient? Probably vitamin D. Well, I remember when we went to Australia and they're like, mate, slip, slap, slop, and it's like, because they've been so programmed to put these carcinogenic skin creams on their face. Oh, gee whiz. But, don't burn that silly. The sun is very good for us. We need sunlight. We need vitamin D. We need vitamin C. But, we need all of these nutrients. And unfortunately, our soils have been so depleted through industrial farming. I mean, if Juliet comes on, she'll talk about that with more expertise than I do. That's an important thing. Making sure you're getting enough nutrients, whatever your diet. And that's why, at 49 years young, I mean, I just sung for 15 hours.
When Juliet comes on, she can get into that paddling pool and do the show from that paddling pool.
She likes it in the pool. The problem is you're not allowed the old boobies out on Facebook. So she might have to wear some clothes for once.
I think that might be a good idea.
A banner.
Bring out the puppies. Yeah.
Bring out the puppies. She posted a study on vitamin C and got banned Facebook for a month just by talking about vitamin C month. So I think we'll keep those in. But she's Juliet has been quite active on social media over the last 10 years, whereas I tend not to be. I do have Twitter at Giles Bryant. I've got my YouTube, but I try to do the work and then put it out there however I do it. But Juliet is much more beautiful than I am. She speaks with the Queen's English in the received pronunciation. And she has quite a big following. So God bless her.
No, I'm going to be in touch with her to give her some dates, some choices. So,
do you know what? The sun has come out here.
I know it's coming through.
And I can hear her calling me because we're off to the beach.
Oh, how lovely.
Hey, give you some places where you can go in Tone. When you went to Byron Bay, I went to the Byron Bay Lighthouse and went inside there and toned in there, and the acoustics is great. The other one is actually in high-rise buildings, and you go into the fire stairways, where the stairwells are going up like in the shape of the DNA, boom, 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 and you can go at either in the ground, where you go somewhere up all the way up different flights and just practice it. It's like going into different octaves.
Well, the two things there on there, Jeff. One is that lighthouse is located on a very powerful ley line or song line that the old folk have been singing on for years. Where that place is, I never went in and toned, but I went by it. What a lovely spot! And I've done that in the stairwells as well. And the famous story is when Led Zeppelin recorded the song "When the Levee Breaks," and they couldn't get the drum sound. So they put it in a stairwell, John Bonham's drums, and they hung all these microphones up to get that to get that sound. That's the legend of it. So there are resonant chambers everywhere. I mean, we are a resonant chamber, sometimes singing outside, as we were on Glastonbury tour when we launched the Unity album. It's difficult to raise your voice, but there we go. We were there just a little while ago. But one thing we did there was, if you sing a song that people know, so I started, Juliet started, you started, Carol started, and then we had hundreds of people, and we were singing this. We were singing this one. Mother, I feel you under my
feet.
Mother, I feel your heartbeat. And I can belt that one out pretty loud, and then everyone was saying, yeah. And if you don't know it, you can sing along. I think that's one of the things as well. Simple songs, it's why I like
keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. I'm not talking to you two, of course, but they say that, don't they? Kiss, keep it simple. I'm quite a simpleton, and I think that's good, really. Let's keep things simple, local, global unity of love.
I'll tell you what else I found out, because in the surf club we used to do run, swim, runs, and you had to do everything within 15 minutes. But what I since learned was all you had to do was go anywhere you want and just sing or tone your name. Just tone your name, like Giles. If you got a middle name, put the middle name in it and then go Bryant, or just work on Giles, and you just play with it, go up and down the scale, working with your name. Because not only does it empower you, because it's the name you've been given. How often do people call you Giles? I mean, in Australia, hey mate, or hey Gilesy, what's going on there, Giles? You don't actually get your real name, but when you start empowering your name by toning it, it's really changes it, because not only you're toning it, but you're actually bringing oxygen into your blood supply.
It's one of the most powerful techniques. One of the most vocal powerful techniques is to do your name. And another lovely variation on that you can do in groups is that everyone sings the name to the person. So you're in the circle and you have your name sung to you. And as a child at a naming ceremony or whatever, these birth ceremonies, it's one of the most beautiful things that the name you've been given to be sung to you, and also to empower that by using your own voice. Yeah, well done, Joe. I mean, it's so powerful, and the name is powerful. The name that either that we have been given or that we choose to now use. So yeah, let's sing the names. Let's sing the holy names. On the 108 Ohms, I was sent a recording by a great enlightened yoga master from 1996 that it's on the start of it. He's just chants the Om, this Guru Dev yoga master. And he said, if we have our tradition and we like to sing the Hare Krishna, he said, but sing whatever works for you, whatever culture you're from, sing your names, so it may even be your name, but or whatever name it is, Allah or Rama or whatever name, Arwen, sing these names, sing these root sounds, because they have such power in them. They've been sung so many times, and or even if it's our own name, just to empower ourselves. So yeah, great tip there.
I know when I go to some of the chants and I can't get my teeth around some of these words, so I just sing my own little version of whatever at the time. But yeah, talking of Byron Bay, when I used to do my yoga there, I used to do it, well, they called it the Dolphin Home, and they had dolphins and whales all around. It was magical, and it was Dr. Didge. Now, when we did our yoga, then he would play the didgeridoo to us, and his wife used to do the bowls, and it was just magical. I so missed that after yoga. It was just really powerful.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talking like that, I miss Byron Bay. We're just about to head off to Felixstowe, which is one of the
Felixstowe.
Well, I'll tell you about.
Well, I suppose Harwich is up there too, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you're right there, Jeff. You've been to that neck of the woods, but what people don't know about Felixstowe is, and I found a spot, it was a spa town. So when you had all these ancient, before people flew around on holidays, they'd go to these spa places. And Felixstowe was one of these spa places because there are these sacred springs that come out of the cliffs. So you go to this one spot in Felixstowe, which is where we're about to go to, and you can bathe in the energy of these springs whilst having this beautiful experience. It's not Byron Bay, but it's about 26 degrees. That'll do me. No, well, you've got a picture of the, if you go the spa pavilion, there's this sacred springs coming out of it there. Yeah, we're not swimming by the container port there, Jeff.
Glad to hear it.
No.
Oh, there's spots that you can find. It's one of those things of local knowledge, isn't it?
Mm.
If you go somewhere and you have a local showing you around, oh, that's a nice boat. Yeah, but we won't go by the big ships. We're going to be going by the spa pavilion. We're going to a vegan cafe first. Little shout out to the Greenhouse Vegan Cafe, and it's just this. Yeah, so near there is where we'll be going. Beautiful Edwardian. They've built these things where the springs come out, and it's very
lovely.
It's so beautiful. You've got to know where to go though.
Yeah.
Because you could go to a bit of it and be by the container port. You could go a bit of it and be by the Kiss Me Quick hats by the pier. We don't go to that bit. So there we go.
Oh my gosh.
So I look forward to it. And it's been lovely chatting to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
Radio FM 88 Australia. We're dreaming the new dream, people. Keep dreaming it.
Well, keep singing. And it's been an absolute delight having you on the show. I mean, sound, voice, and singing and drumming, and it's all our passions. We just love it. And so thank you for the little tips that people can take on board. And maybe you come back later on in the year, let us know what you've been up to and what else you've been manifesting, and keep us in the loop.
I would absolutely love to. I've got stories. I could talk for a week. I think the wife's just put her bikini on, Jeff, for the beach. Thank you so much to everyone who's listened as well. And just a little plug, worldhealingproject.com. The Unity album is available to download for free. So just go worldhealingproject.com. The whole album is free to download. So we wanted to make it available for everyone, irrespective of their income or the money that they've got. So you go to the website, follow the links, you can download the incredible album for free. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Andrina. It's been lovely sharing time with you.
All right. See you when we see you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And tune in same time, same place next week.
Very good.